Welcome to the podcast this week, heroes. This week is going to be a wonderful blend, a potpourri, if you will, of a little bit of a confession and how I am dealing with said situation. And I thought this would be a perfect time to relate it to something I wanted to talk to you about already, which is emotional gains. Now, anyone who listens to me knows that I enjoy going to the gym. It's something that in my 40s, I have really gotten into. My wife at one point said, "You really need to get a hobby." And for anyone that's been married over 20 years like I have, I was like, okay, this sounds like this is something I need to do. When your wife tells you that like maybe you need to have some focuses outside of just the regular being a dad and the relationship and work, it's usually a good thing to take in and maybe consider. And so my thing was like, you know what? I'm going to do something that I feel like improves my health, helps with stress. It's also something I've always wanted to do, to push my body to see what it's capable of, especially before I get older and even older than I am. And maybe I cannot retain as much muscle and I can't do things as much. And so I wanted to be able to press in that area and see what I was capable of. And so making physical gains became something, building muscle was something that was super fascinating to me and always had been. And so I really enjoyed getting into reading about muscles and meeting about muscle fiber growth and exactly what the biological process is of when you go and lift a weight, what is happening. It's causing micro traumas. You're actually ripping the muscle when you lift weights, and with proper nutrition and rest, then you are creating an environment where it can grow. The growth doesn't actually happen when you are lifting the weight, which in my brain, it kind of always was. And I don't think I'm the only one here. I thought I'm lifting this weight and now my muscles are growing. No, you're breaking down the current muscle right now, creating micro traumas. And then with proper nutrition specific to you and your body type, and then with sleep, good sleep hygiene, things like that, and rest, that will be able to build up stronger and become a better version of that muscle. That muscle is becoming a better version of itself. And I thought, what a great analogy for what I want to talk about today, because I love making gains in the gym, but I even more so love making life gains and helping other people make life gains in their life and in their business. It's why I'm a coach. It's why I do what I do. It's why I love what I do. And so I wanted to talk today about a specific situation that came up for me. I said this was going to be a bit of a potpourri. It's a bit of a mea culpa, really. So I just like using all kinds of words today, apparently. But like I said, breaking down the muscle, growing something. I wouldn't say that people would say, I'm going to the gym and that's super enjoyable for me, especially at first. Those first couple of weeks when you're going to the gym and you've decided that you want to do something, get better cardiovascular health or better muscle strength, whatever you want to do, whatever you're going for, you don't always associate that with fun, that this is going to be super comfortable for me. In fact, you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in order to grow. Whenever someone talks, even in the business world, about growth mindset, what they're talking about is looking for opportunities to spotlight where your deficiencies are right now and take that opportunity to take feedback and grow from it. In the future, your future self gets to benefit from the current crap you're going through in order to become a better version of yourself, which ties right into what I coach on with becoming a better version of yourself so that your life story is constantly evolving and you are evolving as the hero of your own story into the eventual version that you want to become. And that you do that over and over and over again, hopefully throughout your life, to continually evolve towards the person that you would like to become. And that might change. The person you think that you want to be now and who you want to become ultimately, you might decide that's completely different 2 years from now, 5 years from now, less. You might decide you want to do a completely different career. You might decide you want to marry a completely different person. You might decide that you want to have kids all of a sudden when you didn't want to have kids before. There's all kinds of different ways that you can go on hero's journeys and become a different version of yourself. And so breaking down that muscle is something that you do on purpose in order to grow bigger muscles. Much in the same way that that muscle is becoming a different version of itself, you can intentionally create life gains the same way. Gains in your emotional health as well. Life gains, emotional health gains. But just like going to the gym or going up another 5 pounds on that weight that you've never lifted that weight that was 5 pounds more before. It's a little scary. It's going to be uncomfortable. People might be watching while you do it. If you're at a public gym and you're like, oh, I hope I can lift this up. There's all kinds of people around me. There's all kinds of things that happen in an environment when you're growing that are uncomfortable, that might feel shitty. And that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. In fact, being uncomfortable a lot of times means you're probably moving in the right direction. So just like in the gym, you can create intentional life gains. And again, it is not engineered to be comfortable. So we should really get rid of, and I have to do this myself as well and remind myself, it's okay that I feel uncomfortable right now. It's okay that I'm embarrassed. It's okay that I feel shame. Like these are emotions that I'm a big boy and I can process the emotions. I don't need to hide from them by buffering with drinking or eating or anything else. I can just feel the emotion, let it pass through me. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. And then I can get curious about it and make a different decision. So it's not engineered to be comfortable. So I just really want everyone to take a moment and realize that just because you're feeling uncomfortable or because you're in the gym and you feel exhausted and it hurts, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. In fact, a lot of times it means the opposite. So here's my story that kind of made me want to tell this today, because I was like, you know what? I want to give them a specific story about me and how I get it wrong. I get it wrong all the time, but hopefully I'm learning from it and I'm growing and I'm becoming a better version of myself, a better hero for my story, for my life, for my business, and specifically in this story for my family. So this is the story of Grumpy Dad. So Grumpy Dad has been showing up a little bit too much lately, apparently. And I was called on the carpet for this morning, okay? And so I have a wonderful partner who very lovingly told me that both of the kids had come to her at one point during this last week and said, Dad just kind of seems kind of grumpy lately, like kind of all the time, which, as soon as I heard that, any other parents that are listening right now, as soon as I heard that, you know exactly how that feels, right? You're like, you probably already knew it to some degree, but maybe you hope that people didn't notice, especially your kiddos. And so immediately, let me know if these emotions are familiar to you, anyone who's a parent out there, or is called out in a similar situation like this. Maybe your friends as well. Maybe you're in a situation like that. But as soon as I felt called out, I was able to observe it happen because I'm a nerd and I'm a coach. And so like, I'm observing my brain as it's processing things. Doesn't mean I'm not human and going through the same things. It means that I've been trained to a point now where I'm observing and being curious at the same time that I'm feeling. I'm weird, but that's kind of the coach gig. So at the moment I felt embarrassed. I felt shame. I felt, and immediately because I felt embarrassed and felt shame, very male thing for me to do in general, is I got defensive. Well, or at least my impulse was to be defensive, was to come up with an excuse because you know what, there's all this stuff happening at work and the construction thing that we're working on in our backyard right now, like that, there's been some stressful things happening there. And it's just, you know, there's been some stuff coming up. And so I immediately wanted to find the reasons that would be good excuses. But see, that doesn't help me grow. That keeps me where I'm at. That helps me dig in and try to justify to someone else or my family why it's happening, but it's not helping me grow. It's not helping them get a better version of me as a hero, as a father and as a partner. So not helpful there if I want to grow. If I want to have life gains, I have to be uncomfortable. And this is the uncomfortable part. The uncomfortable part is realizing that, yeah, I've been doing that. And that sucks. And I feel shame and I feel embarrassed and I feel guilty. And my knee-jerk reaction is to get defensive, but I'm going to choose not to do that. Take a moment, take a breath. Yeah, that's totally happening. Okay. And I don't have to make it mean that I'm a bad dad. It's just that I'm human. This is happening. Okay. Now, how can I get curious about my behaviors and what can I do much like when you're breaking down that muscle? It's not, the growth doesn't happen when you're lifting. The growth happens when you're resting and when you're giving yourself proper nutrition. So what is the equivalent of that rest and proper nutrition for you to grow in your life, emotionally or with your family? And it's to take a step back and to look at, okay, how can I nourish myself better so that I show up as a better person for my family. And so for me, in this specific instance, I was like, okay, I can take 2 minutes before I come out of my amazing studio office that I have in our backyard. I don't have a commute home, which I love. I did that for years. I don't have it anymore. We shut down our offices and now I get to work from home. My whole team works remotely. It's great. But one of the drawbacks from that is that buffer time, listening, whatever that is for you. If you do have a commute right now, listening to NPR or listening to your favorite radio station or singing along to your favorite music on your way home, you have that buffer time maybe to kind of make a delineation between work you and family you or friends you or just going into your life you. And so I need to create that, even if it's just a very micro dose of it. So I'm going to take 2 minutes at the end of my day, whether that's 3 or 4 p.m. or 5 p.m., whatever it is for that particular day. And before I walk, I power everything down and walk out the door. I will power everything down. I will sit in the chair across from my desk. I will close my eyes and I will just choose to feel gratitude for about a minute for the day and the work that I've accomplished, and then feel gratitude for at least a minute of what I'm looking forward to, that I get to see my kids. I'm going to hang out with my wife now, and we're going to do things together. And that there's going to be a separation there. Any stress from the construction project, any stress from work or from anything that I'm building or clients that I'm working with or anything, I'm going to leave that there and do better at compartmentalizing that, which other entrepreneurs out there, other leaders, we have a tendency to carry things with us wherever we're going. It's one of our superpowers as entrepreneurs and leaders is to be able to be processing things and taking things in and thinking of new ideas and kind of all the time as our base operating system. I've just noticed that commonality between people that are like me. But one of the drawbacks of that is what I'm talking about, which is things from work or stress from work bleeds into home life or friend groups or things like that. The people that you love the most, all of a sudden, maybe you're getting some weird byproducts of stress and other things in your life from other places. So compartmentalizing, if you are a leader, if you are an entrepreneur-minded person, if you're someone like that, if you're a creative, be aware that that superpower has a flip side to the coin and that you might need to create some structure for you. Like I'm just doing something very small, and you can do something small as well, that helps you to make a transition from different things that you do in your life so they don't bleed into one another. Because we want to grow those muscles, but we need to give ourselves time and space and nourishment in order to be able to live in the different areas of our lives and grow emotionally as well, to get those life gains. So when you are in a situation like this and you feel those emotions, one thing that I wanted to point out as well is it's okay for you to feel those emotions. For me, like I said, rapid fire, it was embarrassment, shame, and I wanted to go to defensiveness, but I've trained myself at this point to go like, you know what, let's not do that last step and take it on board. And it sucks in the moment, much like when you're on that last rep of doing curls or bench press or squats or whatever, like those last few, oof, you just want to be done. You want to escape from feeling an emotion that you might label as negative. But we get to feel all the emotions as humans. And sometimes it's an amazing emotion like joy or elation or excitement. And sometimes it's a situation where you might feel shame or embarrassment. It doesn't make you a bad person or a worse person. It just makes you human. Experience it. Let the emotion happen, release it, and then get curious about why you're feeling that way. In my case, it was because I knew they were right and I need to do a better job. And it's an opportunity for me to grow, to become a different version of myself as a hero, for them as a father, for me as a partner. And so I would offer to you that look for areas in your life where you can grab life gains as well, where you can, much like the gym, find opportunities for that growth mindset and know that when you're feeling a little bit shitty because someone is telling you about, or you have identified some things that you want to improve in yourself, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person right now and that you're trying to become a good person. It's not black and white like that. We're just always evolving organically. And so if you're taking in new information, it's okay to feel like you wish you already were that new version of yourself where this wasn't something you had to deal with. It's okay to feel that way. But it's also the only way that you can grow. It is absolutely, literally the only way that you can evolve is by feeling these things, deciding you don't want to feel that way, and finding a path forward that would make it so that you're a different version of yourself where this is no longer something that you need to deal with, that you can grow from it to the next version of yourself. So get curious about the cause, forgive yourself, and then you can move on. Just move on to finding the solution. So in my case, grumpy dad, in order to solve grumpy dad, I went ahead and I talked to each of my kiddos, let them know, hey, you totally called me out. You're absolutely right. I'm so sorry you've been dealing with grumpy dad for the last couple days. These are the things that I'm going to do to get better about this. And if you see me being grumpy dad, I want you to just say grumpy dad and give me a smile. And that will help me to become a better version of myself for you right now. So it can be a little bit fun. You can have a little bit of fun with it while you're growing. It doesn't all have to be uncomfortable. In fact, using a little bit of humor, often a great way to diffuse the situation and to realize that, hey, we're all human. I'm trying to become a better dad. I'm trying to become a better leader, a better business owner, a better coach, a better partner all the time. And I fail at it constantly. But hopefully through each of those failures, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm becoming a better version of myself, a better hero, so that I can have the hero story that I want and that I want to evolve to in my life. And I want the same thing for you. So if you're going through anything similar like this, and you start to feel those emotions, realize that nothing's going wrong here. It's just an opportunity for you to grow and to get some life gains. All right, my friends, have a fantastic week. Go get those life gains. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.